If you've ever visited the Ford Presidential Museum, you know there is a permanent exhibit dedicated to the life and legacy of Betty Ford.
And it shows all her amazing accomplishments, groundbreaking interviews, what I love best, the fashions, as you're going back to that era, even items given to the Fords during their time in the White House.
Come along with us as we take a look inside. We're talking about the life and legacy of Betty Ford here at the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Museum in Grand Rapids, and we're joined by Jim Kratzis, the Deputy Director of the Ford Museum. This is the permanent exhibit right here, and it really talks a lot about Betty's life.
It does. Well, this area right here is dealing with her time in the White House. So talks about the changes that she made in the White House for state dinners, you know, having round tables with promoted conversation, a more friendly atmosphere in the White House. And it also talks about the issues that Mrs. Ford dealt with. I mean, the breast cancer that she was diagnosed with early in President Ford's career, and her making that so aware to other women across the country and across the world, and it saved probably thousands of lives over the years.
Right.
It also deals with her openness and candor as a First Lady.
That's wonderful. We know Betty obviously as a woman, a First Lady that was raised here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and some of the influences we are now looking at. But as we were talking, you were saying that she's probably one of the most memorable First Ladies.
Well, she certainly has had more of an impact as a First Lady, I would argue, than all but a handful of First Ladies in our country's history. If you think about the lives that she saved, not only with breast cancer, but her later dependency on alcohol and drug and chemical, and opening the Betty Ford Clinic and saving lives of breast cancer and people with addictions. This is a very important First Lady. I mean, this is somebody who has had a direct impact on the lives of people. And all across the country.
Yeah. There are so many things to see in this exhibit celebrating President Ford and Betty's life. Everything from fashions to some of the gifts that the Fords received, jewelry, housewares, and things like that. I want to point out right now, there's actually a 60 Minutes interview that plays in this exhibit right here. And it's with Betty Ford.
Betty Ford,
at the time she was the First Lady.
Yes.
And it was pretty groundbreaking at the time.
I was in college at the time, and I remember watching it, and to see this First Lady who looked like very much of a socialite, you know, a Midwestern socialite, and suddenly start talking about abortion rights and her daughter possibly having an affair and marijuana use by her children and things of that nature, appointing a woman to the Supreme Court. These are things that just did not mix with the, you know, middle class in America. So the White House was inundated with telegrams, messages, both condemning and praising Mrs. Ford on that 60-minute interview. But I will tell you, Morley Safer said it was really one of the most pleasing, most important interviews he ever did on 60 Minutes.
Probably very refreshing because the year was about 1974.
1974, 75. It was really flew through a lot of people for a loop. There's no two ways about it.
Wow. There's so much here in this exhibit looking at Betty Ford's life. This has been basically a collection that spans the years.
It does. We have things from her very early days, even when she was a member of the Martha Graham dance troupe. We have just about all of her dresses from the White House that she wore at state dinners and for different events, including the one that she wore when Queen Elizabeth was here, or the outfit that she wore when President Ford was sworn in to office. So it's all here. We have, you know, we are the collection of President and Mrs. Ford, that's for sure.
And I think a lot of times, of course, we grow up here in West Michigan knowing the name Betty Ford, but then when someone does pass, you look at the achievements that they've had throughout their life, and it's almost astounding to realize the contributions that Betty Ford made.
Unfortunately, sometimes people have to pass before their real impact is felt.
Well, we want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
A very interesting permanent collection to check out here at the Gerald R. Ford Museum, looking at the life and legacy of Betty Ford.
Wow.
It's all right there.
Yeah. It's amazing to see that. And of course the museum, I know it's closed, but it will open later so that people can do their visitation and pay their respects. And we'll have more information on that, of course, coming too.
You know, of course, the entry area is the only area that's open right now. That's where the condolence book is. Anyone who wants to sign it is encouraged. They're welcome to come by anytime. The museum is located on Pearl Street, just west of the Grand River in downtown Grand Rapids.
And tonight, Mrs. Ford's body will be flown into Grand Rapids, arriving at the Gerald R. Ford International Airport. Right now it's predicted at 5 p.m. A motorcade will leave the airport and travel north along Patterson to 28th Street, and then east on 28th Street to I-96. From there, it will take I-96 west to I-196, exiting on Ottawa Avenue.
Once downtown, they'll follow Ottawa Avenue west along Michigan Street, take Michigan to Scribner South, and will travel on Scribner to Pearl, right to the entrance of the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Museum.
That's right. And the plans for tomorrow will include the Ford family gathering at the museum about noon to spend some time there. Around 1 p.m., the casket and the Ford family will head by motorcade to Grace Episcopal Church.
2 p.m. is the estimated time for the funeral service at the church. Lynn Cheney and Richard Norton Smith are expected to deliver eulogies. Then sometime after about 3:30 p.m., the family will return to the museum for a private interment service, which is expected to end at about 5 o'clock.
And for those who wish to pay their respects, Betty Ford will be lying in repose at the Ford Museum with public viewing scheduled starting tonight at 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. tonight, and tomorrow morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
You can sign the memorial book during those times at DeVos Place, which is also the entrance to the viewing. We'll bring you live coverage of the day's events later this afternoon and then again tomorrow starting at 11 a.m. We will not have an 8 West. That will be on Wood TV and WOTV4, and we'll be streaming live on woodtv.com as well. And so we hope that you take advantage of some of those different venues that we're going to have available for you to take in some of the events that are happening to remember Betty Ford's life.
Absolutely. You know, I know a lot of people are going to want to remembering when they paid respects to President Ford, and it's kind of the same setup. So if you recall, you go in through DeVos Place, walk over the bridge, and it'll be that same kind of setup.
Yeah. So we have a lot more to cover in this whole hour of 8 West. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Your all-access pass to everything West Michigan.